It's an extremely cold day here in New York City, as low as 16 degrees Fahrenheit. And then when it is a very cold day, that calls to go and cozy up right next to a very good New York City style pizza. Classic New York pizza here in Greenwich Village. This is one of the most iconic spots in the entire city. Is John's of Bleecker Street. It's in all the major guidebooks, all the major pizza tours. One of the best pizza tours which I recommend is Scott's Pizza Tours, and this is one of their major stops. This has been running since 1929 here in Greenwich Village. And this location that we're sitting here has been around since at least the 1980s, and then a little bit before the 1950s was in this general Bleecker Street area, and then before then, 1929, it started at Sullivan Street. So I'm so excited to try some John's of Bleecker Street. Started off by Giovanni Sasso, and we're having his namesake pizza here. So welcome to John's of Bleecker Street. We have the iconic neon sign right in front. We are, of course, on Bleecker Street in Greenwich Village. And here it is, the Sasso. The Sasso is aged mozzarella with fresh tomato sauce, apparently. And I added some meatballs. Always gotta try the meatballs. I've been here before, so I've tried their regular classic cheese slice, but I kind of want to go a little bit and try their meatballs. That's how you can tell if a pizza place is truly exceptional, if the meatballs are also really good. So we're here right by a few photos of Vincent Gambino, David Morse, don't know quite who he is, but I do know Tim Robbins right over here. Tim Robbins was over here. A lot of photos of major celebrities all around. And a huge mural, which is three people on the boat, I guess. And there's another mural here. I think that might be like some Italian village, maybe. And here's the oven. That's where the pizzas are being made. And I'm so excited to try this. The cheese looks good. It's interesting. I'm a bit nervous about the cheese, to be honest, because it's glistening a little bit too much. A little bit too much glisten, because when cheese glistens, it's sometimes a sign that it is not quite the freshest. But it is aged mozzarella, so I guess it's supposed to glisten. The bread looks good. Look at the bread. Nice charring on the bottom. That's a good sign. I like the thin crust, very typical New York, but it's not soupy in the middle like you would have in the Napoli style. I like the huge tomato chunks. That's a very nice touch. And the meatballs are looking interesting. They're very interesting meatballs. They seem like they're actually from whole meatballs that they just sliced up, which is a good sign. So without further ado, let's try this out. I also had a beer called a Michelob Ultra. It was a terrible mistake. This was kind of one of those very commercial beers here in New York City. They have a nice selection of other awesome breweries like Goose Island. So I would recommend Goose Island if you're here. Michelob, as Americans like to say, this beer tastes like piss. It's not their fault though. Try Goose Island if you're here instead. So in order to make up for that terrible beer, which I'm not going to finish, I got myself a nice cola. I think this is a proper atmosphere for good Coca-Cola. Let's try this out. John's of Bleecker Street. I haven't been here in about 6 years. 5 years. 5 years. 5 years ago, I started a channel before Urbanist that went by a different name, Cityscapes. And due to various issues, I couldn't continue that show. It was a blessing in disguise because I ended up starting Urbanist. But in that first initial vlog that I ended up making, I ended up covering a tour with Scott's Pizza Tours. And he was a really cool guy, and he took us here. So that was the last time I ate here. Let's try this out. Ariel's wear is clashing with the back of the seat. I am clashing a lot. I did not realize how much this shirt would clash in Inspire Life. Let's try this out. Wow. As I mentioned, I was nervous. I was nervous about this pizza. The cheese is glistening, but the mozzarella has a funky taste to it. I guess that's why it's aged mozzarella, which I frequently don't encounter on pizzas. Usually it's fresh mozzarella. So it has a funk to it, which I like. It's a nice funk. The meatballs are very savory. Very savory. I love the heaping of tomato sauce. The bread itself is really good. It's doughy, but also slightly crispy. Not as crispy as Ruby Rosa, which was extremely crispy. I kind of like this a little bit more. This is more iconic New York style. That's really good. Michael says, treat yourself to a different beer. I think I'm okay with the soda. I rarely drink Coca-Cola anymore, but oh my God. Ooh, I used to be a heavy Coca-Cola drinker. I used to do heavy Coke back in the day. Coca-Cola. Used to be very, always with Coke when I was little. Always, all the time. Coke here, Coke there, Coke everywhere. Coke was all over the place when I was little. It was quite a big problem. Coca-Cola was quite a big problem. But luckily I stopped. And now I have the model figure that I have been blessed with after my Coke days were over. But this is a pizza. I really am impressed actually by this. I did not, my expectations were pretty low, to be honest. This is a very super touristy spot, super touristy. This is not gourmet pizza. This is not Juliana's. This is not Ruby Rosa's. Those are gourmet New York slices, New York pies. This is not a Lucale, which I'm very tempted to check out if I can get in next week and show you Lucale. It's not gourmet, but it is classic and a step above from a slice shop. So I made frozen pizza today with Coca-Cola. Says Mireya. I got free fountain sodas in my office, corporate for a movie theater chain. Says Brio. It's very dangerous. Very dangerous. It's easy to overdose on Coke. Cola. Get it right, ladies and gentlemen. Your glass says RC Cola. It does say RC Cola, but it's not RC. Rick, great observation. Not RC Cola, that has been defunct, I think, for quite a while. I used to drink in the 90s. It was quite good. I did like RC Cola. So, I'm really impressed. Feel free to ask me anything about pizza. I'm kind of doing a pizza tour of New York because I want to show you the best pizzerias in New York City and how they feel dining in them. And there's a few really iconic spots. I already hit Juliana's, and this is the second of the iconic spots that I went to. A few other people recommended other pizzerias. Thank you so much for your recommendations. I'll do my best to cover as many pizzas before I go to London. Because obviously one cannot go too frail and thin all the way to the UK. People have to be stuffed to go to the UK, so that's why I'm trying all the pizzas before I travel. Claudia, thank you so much for 200 stars. Hello, Dutch Moz. Dutch Moz is tuning in. Thank you so much for tuning in, Dutch Moz. I hope you enjoyed Rise New York. I'm glad you went. That's awesome to hear. All right, let me show you a little bit more the ambiance. Let's enjoy the ambiance. Feel free to ask me any questions. Here's the ambiance. Doreen says, you look so comfortable eating on camera. I really do. I am an expert. I'm a professional. Really. Let me show you a little bit more of the kitchen before I go more into this pizza. There we go. Right there is an oven. Huge oven right down there. Look at that. Ron asks, is there any good pizzerias in London? I don't think so. I don't think London's known for its pizzerias. But this is the menu. If anyone wants to scan the phone. I know this is not so useful for many people. All right, let's have more of this pizza. Let's try the elements as separate as possible. Let's see. Dave says hello. Hello, Dave. Hello, Andreas. If you're watching for the first time, do let us know. Welcome to the show. If you're tuning in for the first time, I'm so glad that we have a lot of first-time viewers and some long-time viewers that never have commented. Feel free to say hello. I'm so curious who you are, where you're watching from. You don't need to ask questions. It's okay. Not everyone has to be talkative, but if you have been since I started Urbanist 5+ years ago. You've been a lurker. Do let me know. I'm curious. Who are you? Wendy's watching for the first time. If you drink tea while in London, visit Fortnum and Mason. I think I might, JC. Yeah. I will be showing you in London. I will be showing you a bagel spot. When I went to London back 4 years ago in 2018, I had such a blast. I'm going there in February. Stay tuned. I will be posting the full announcement, and the tentative schedule will be posted in a post later tonight. I went over and did not have any good pizza. I couldn't find any good pizza, but I did find a great bagel. One of the best bagels I've ever had in my life was actually in London. That might sound very blasphemous. Unspecified V is usually lurking. Yeah. Unspecified, but I know who you are. You quickly say hello. All right. Well, actually, let's try the elements on its own. All right, let's try the meatball on its own. It's a really good meatball. It's soft. It's tender meatball. It has great texture. It has that cheesy texture to it. So they're using a lot of Parmesan cheese in this meatball. Very grounded. Not grounded because, it's the pig was emotionally stable, emotionally intelligent pig that in life knew that one cannot get too fantastical about things and enjoyed being very grounded. No, not in that respect. I'm talking about the literal meat. It's very grounded. Like it's very grinded up. Really good meatballs. They are very generous with the amount of meatballs that they put on here, which I'm very impressed. Sometimes the amount of meatballs can be a little, but look how many meatballs you have here. I think here this is a medium style. They have only 2 sizes, medium and large. The Sasso medium is $19. Meatballs is $5. So I'm going to spend quite a bit. This is easily split between 2 people. I think I'm going to take some of this to go, actually, because I'm not going to eat this all, but this is going to be nice pizza to reheat later tonight. This beer costs $7. Don't recommend it, but there's other good beers here. One called Goose Island IPA, and this is about $3.25. Wendy says, you make me feel so young. The place looks good. So join me for 2 more slices. I'm gonna eat this one and one more. Feel free to ask me anything. I'm looking forward to English beer. I will be showing you English beer. I'll be showing you at least one pub, probably a few pubs. I'll be definitely showing you. And hopefully a Sunday roast. I'm gonna see if I can do a Sunday roast broadcast. Lorraine, thank you so much for the 100 stars. I appreciate that. Stars is worth double, everyone. Nick B says, I see him. Who do you see? Doreen, thank you so much, everyone, for the stars. Stars are worth double. And then if you send enough stars in any given broadcast, there's a stars party. And I think they even give even more stars. So their Facebook is being very generous with the stars. Nick, you see your cousin Joey. That's cool to hear, Nick. So I'm really impressed because another reason I came here is because I just went to Rise New York, which is the newest exhibition right by Times Square that has a fashion documentary by mine. And it was such a pleasure to see people sit down and watch the documentary. I was kind of lurking for a little while, see who sits down and how long they sit down. And lo and behold, I did see people sit down and enjoy my documentary. It was really cool. So what better way to celebrate a great New York moment than some pizza? Kay loves the music. I'm so glad you love the music, Kay. Hello, Anonymous Dude. Hello, Bella. Moderators or anyone else, if you see someone who commented that you don't recognize their name, do elevate their comment. Do repeat it so I can say hello to new people. I'm always glad when new people tune in as well. Lorraine, thank you so much for 100 stars. Susie says, oh, I sat down all right to watch my documentary. Frank Sinatra's in the background is perfect. Yeah. Unfortunately, I can't monetize these videos. I can't monetize them because a lot of popular music is playing. So these videos are sponsored. Sorry, my app froze. These videos are sponsored by the patrons. Patreon.com/Urbanist. Patrons get bonus footage, scenes, and of the places we visit. End up getting receive a postcard from New York, from the UK for February, or press that join button, that become a supporter button on Facebook. Most of your contribution or individual contributions at paypal.me/ from someone who is Greek. So thank you so much. And someone else who had a Russian name, alphabets, but thank you so much for those contributions. All right, so I'll feel free to ask any last remaining questions. Hey, Sari says, hey, random question. Just watching the old video of the best 5 coffee shops with the vlogger that had hot chocolate. Would love to know what the best hot chocolate is. Yeah, that vlogger friend of mine, it was great question. Thank you so much for tuning in, Sari. I recognize your name. So thank you for tuning in again. That vlogger is my friend Jennifer, who runs Jennifer's Camera. She's awesome, really great person. She is not so much of a vlogger nowadays. She is have pivoted to art. So we never did that hot chocolate video, but the best hot chocolate I would recommend in New York City right now, in my opinion, is Blue Stripes. Blue Stripes Cocoa in Greenwich Village as well. So we're about a 10-minute walk away from that location. Blue Stripes, in my opinion, is the best for a very pretty hot chocolate. There is an amazing place called Bibble and Sip and that's the prettiest hot chocolate, have that one to stay because they give it to you in a huge cup with a gigantic marshmallow. Alright, one more. Lots of pizza, and mom and pop shops are no longer here in North Carolina. Man, yeah, that's so disappointing. That's what sucks about the U.S., in my opinion. Again, everyone, U.S., awesome country for many, many reasons. There's so many reasons why the U.S. is amazing. But one of the things I don't like about the U.S. is how unfriendly it is to mom and pop shops. And that's partly due to the urban design of places. They can't simply compete against huge chains. So there's not that many mom and pop pizzerias outside of New York, Chicago, maybe LA, maybe Boston. There's not that many local pizzerias outside New Jersey either, which is pretty urbanized. So fortunately, a lot of people have to go to Pizza Hut or Domino's or Papa John's. It's also the case in the outskirts of New York City. The lower income neighborhoods of outskirts of New York City have only access to those very commercial brands. So it kind of sucks. It sucks. So I wish that wasn't the case. But I think the rest of the U.S. hopefully in the future will follow the example of great cities like New York, like Boston, that are walkable, have lots of great public transportation so people can walk around and pop into a new place. It's definitely a way to grow. Bella says, congratulations again. Thank you so much. What a lovely beverage to pair with the pepperoni pizza. I didn't get pepperoni. Pepperoni is pepperoni. It's going to taste the same almost everywhere. So it doesn't really matter where you have pepperoni. I would there's only a few places where there's exceptional pepperoni. That place, in my opinion, is Prince Street Pizza in Soho. Has exceptional pepperoni. But otherwise, pepperoni is pepperoni. I think the way to tell the mark of a great pizzeria, if it's your job or you're a food reviewer or you're a pizza enthusiast, try the meatballs. That's the best way to kind of judge whether a pizzeria is exceptional or not. Because meatballs, is a classic recipe, but it does take tender love and care to make a great meatball and a great recipe. And some places have recipes that date back generations. And these meatballs pass the test. Definitely, these beautiful, juicy balls in one's mouth is amazing. Hey, Ellie says, I recently discovered your page. It's an absolute gem. The way you tell stories transports me there like magic. Thank you so much. And Roxanne, thank you so much for the super chat tonight. Thank you so much for a $5 super chat, Roxanne. Someone from Prince Street Pizza works for Made in New York Pizza in the Upper West Side. Says Trisha, I've been meaning to try a different pizzeria in the Upper West Side. I'll look into Made in New York Pizza. I've been meaning to try Mama Square 2, I think it's called. Mama's Pizza 2, which is known for their vodka slices. Paul says, so you diss America, but at the same time you eat at these great mom and pop pizzerias. Paul, and for anyone who watches, because I get comments sometimes, people see whatever statement I make as binary, as absolutes. So if I say a statement, I don't like this about America, it means I don't like America. It doesn't equate. That's definitely not what I intend to say, and usually when people are having a conversation, usually that's not what they're saying either. So no, that's not what I'm saying. It is for the sake of intellectual entertainment. I like having nuanced conversations. So what I don't like about America is the lack of mom and pop shops in many places around America. It's not absolute, of course. There's many exceptions in this great country, but in the generalization for the sake of conversation, that is indeed the case. And many people do agree with me. Many people have talked about the same exact thing. So it doesn't mean that I'm bashing the country, but it means that I'm asking for better. And that's okay. That's okay. It's okay to ask for better. There's a lot of things I can name that I'm grateful for, and usually I do. Anonymous Dude says that happens to me a lot. Is this pizza better in Italy or New York? New York is different. It's comparing apples to oranges. In Italy, especially Napoli style pizza, in Naples, you end up getting pizza that's made super quick, super fresh. Everything is extremely fresh. The mozzarella is fresh, the dough is made that day, it's all prepared, and within a few minutes, boom, it's on your table, it's piping hot. That's the beauty of Naples style pizza, which you don't always get here in America. America, they don't always use all the freshest ingredients. But they do make to order, which is nice in places like this, but not always. Other places already have it pre-made and it's left up outside for many hours. That is the case with a lot of slice shops. When you go to a place like Rome, you have different styles of pizza that has a lot of toppings, and is also left out for hours, but there's a lot of great attention to detail to the bread, to the actual dough. The bread is extremely high quality. It's having a great baker's bread. So most of the best pizzerias in Rome are bakeries. That's not the case here in New York. New York, in my perspective, is more about the grease, the heartiness, how thick it is, how cheesy it is. I think that's what makes a great New York City pizza. I think if you're looking for fresh or you're looking for great bread, this is not the place. They're good enough, but this is not the place. Ron says, do they deliver pizzas NYC? Ron, no they don't, unfortunately. Paul says, but you never travel to any of those places. Paul, I never traveled to any of those places in America where you're accused of having a void of mom and pop shops. I have, just not on video because I don't find them frankly interesting. But I've been to many parts upstate New York. I've been from New York all the way to Chicago, so I've been to places in between. Cleveland, Indiana, Iowa. I've been to parts of New Jersey. I've been to Pennsylvania a lot. And I went up to Maine. Maine was the only place I covered on video that was really kind of outside of a major city in the US. So even in Maine, you see that kind of lack of mom and pop shops. But it was great because Maine, certain cities were very kind of close knit. Laureen, thank you so much for tuning in. When the pizza is well made, the taste mostly depends on the oven. There are stone pizza ovens. Indeed, yes. You need a proper wood chip furnace. Yeah, well, I mean, to make a certain type of pizza, yeah, you do need a good oven. Because making pizza at home isn't quite the same because the oven is nowhere near as powerful, so you don't have that same pizza texture at home. It's very hard to recreate. But there are now portable pizza ovens. A few companies do make them. Enjoy it one slice at a time, says Inspire Life. I'm so glad you do. And the DMC is excellent. Ooh, what are you referring to? And Roxanne says Italy pizza is very different. It is, yeah. Harry, what time is it there? Just to prove someone is live, Harry. Harry, this is not live. This was pre-recorded, but I didn't know you were going to tune in, Harry, due to my power of foresight that I have. My immense psychic powers, which I have developed over the years. Thank you so much for tuning in, Harry, from the past. Thank you so much for tuning in the future. I appreciate that. Dolores, hello. And I will be releasing an online course on how to develop your own immense psychic powers to predict the future. Stay tuned. That online course will be available soon on Skillshare. Why did you think pizza is so synonymous with joy, partying, and celebrating? Says Anonymous. So there's something about pizza and why kids love them. The reason younger kids gravitate to pizza is actually very scientific. It's based on how we act around food at an early age. Kids are usually turned off by fruits or vegetables that they do not recognize. So, especially if it's raw fruits or vegetables. And it's a safety mechanism. So a little kid usually won't be, most young kids won't be compelled to go out into the wilderness and pick a random berry and try to eat it. Most kids don't do that. It's a natural safety mechanism. They won't go out into the wilderness to try eat a random leaf or eat a random tuber, which actually would be very dangerous if you eat a raw potato in many instances. So kids are usually not compelled to do that. And that's why when you have a little kid and try to feed them spinach or some raw berries or pineapple, they kind of get turned off. Many different fruits, many different vegetables and grains, they get turned off. They don't want it because it's too dangerous. So kids then like processed foods, and you see this in other animals in the animal kingdom, where the mother actually bites into the food, chews it, and then feeds it to their youngling. This happens in the bird kingdom. In a way, happens also in humanity. We end up processing food and we feed it to little kids. That's why kids in our modern era gravitate towards pizza. It's a heavily processed food. Everything is processed about it mostly. The tomatoes are processed, they're grinded up and it's usually stored in a can. The cheese is a processed food inherently. The meats, if you were to have pepperoni, usually it's a processed pepperoni. You don't usually put a raw meat on your pizza, or raw fish on your pizza. It's very rare. And the bread, of course, is a processed food. So all those processed foods make it so the kid likes them. They prefer it over a plate of spinach with raw almonds and some berries, which could be very tasty as an adult. As a little kid, you won't usually have it. Most kids are not compelled to have it. So parents struggle. Parents usually don't know this, and they struggle, and they try to convince their kids to eat these spinach. What you gotta do is process the spinach somehow, maybe shred it up or maybe saute and put it on the pizza, then maybe a kid will eat it. So I think we eat pizza, that's why we eat pizza as a little kid. And the same thing applies to a lot of Italian foods. Here in America, we gravitate to those type of foods. Being Puerto Rican, I gravitate to rice and beans, or to empanadas, which are the meat pastry, because they're all processed foods. Or to ice cream, another processed food. There might be other reasons for it, but beyond that, since pizza is really the go-to for most kids in America and many other parts of the world to eat when they were little, there's an association with childhood excitement to eat a great pizza. Same thing also applies to burgers, at least here in America. So I think that's where the association comes from. I think that's why people get lit up with joy eating pizza well into their adulthood, especially here in America. Because in Italy, I see people like their pizza, they love their pizza, of course, but I don't see that joy, that childhood joy that you see in America or other parts of the Western world, you don't see the same type of joy. And I think that's why we have that joy here in America. We grew up on pizza, says Harry. Indeed we did. What about chicharrón? I guess chicharrón, but yeah, as a little kid, I usually did eat chicharrón. Spaghetti as well, says Ron. Yep, precisely. Spaghetti is another food that a lot little kids gravitate to. I highly recommend the Pizza Show, says the lowest dude. Yeah, that was a great show on Munchies, yeah. Really Dough, in my opinion, is one of the best pizza shows. It's on Thrillist on YouTube, and it's hosted by one of the best tour guides in New York City, in my opinion, Scott Weiner, Scott Pizza Tours. Have you ever tasted lamb and pork on a spit? I have, Matrix, yeah, it's really good. Pork on the spit is very common in Puerto Rico. Lamb on the spit, I've tried it, especially when traveling or going to Middle Eastern places here. When you are in New York, check out Ariel's Rise in New York fashion documentary. Yeah, we do. What do you think of frozen pizza? I do not like frozen pizza. I know there's many parts in the world where it's hard to come across fresh pizza. But if you're in a city like New York, I don't think there's reason for frozen pizza. Even in most places around the US, I think a Domino's trumps a frozen pizza. I think Domino's is at least made to order. And the ingredients might not be super fresh, but everything's made to order. So everything's assembled freshly. So I would recommend a Domino's if you don't have access to a mom and pop pizzeria. Anonymous Dude says, I must say you're styling today. Thank you so much. Have you tried hand tossing a pizza? No, I never tried that, Inspire Life. I've filmed it once. I went to a place called Table 87. There was a guy who did hand tossing, and it was all on live video. When I'm in Puerto Rico, I had stuffed plantains with crab meat, says Clef. Oh yeah. ¿Cuál es la comida que te más te gusta y que te menos te gusta? Everyone says, what's the food that you enjoy the most? The food that you enjoy the least. La comida que me gusta más son los burritos americanos. A mí me encantan los burritos porque tiene todo que es clásico hispano, como el arroz, las habichuelas, los frijoles y todo ahí mismo. Oh, thank you so much. Gracias.
¿Y esto para llevar o?
Sí, esto para llevar, por favor. Gracias. Sí, tiene todo eso a la misma. La cosa que me gusta lo menos es a mí no me gusta tanto la comida super picante. So the thing I like the most is burritos because it has everything that I really grew up with. Rice, beans, meat, everything. And the thing I don't like too much is spicy. Okay, everyone. This was the total. Thank you everyone so much for tuning in. This was the total. I ended up getting a beer which I really did not enjoy, Michelin. But the pizza was excellent. It was nice to have a good glass of Coke. It says RC. And it was $37.64 right over here.
¿Tienes un canal?
Sí, un canal en YouTube que se llama Urbanist.
¿Cómo se llama?
Urbanist. Como una ciudad. ¿Qué?
¿De comida o?
De comida y de historia. Sí, y voy por países por todo el mundo. Sí. Alright. Hands are shaking, too much meatballs. Alright, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Tip Big says EMT. Indeed, thank you, everyone. I think they gave me RC Cola. I think they did, yeah. I think they did give me RC Cola. I think they did, yeah. It was really good. Everyone. The guy asked me, do I run the channel? And was it about? Told food and history. Urbanist. Everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. Do they have egg creams here? They do not. Stay tuned. Saturdays and Wednesdays. Keep being awesome and always keep on exploring. Muchas gracias. Urbanist, sí, se escribe. Exploring Cities. Voy a escribirlo.
Te voy a ver acá. ¿Quieres ver el horno adentro?
Sí, a mí me encantaría, sí. Sí, eso sí estaría muy bien.
Para que lo pongas ahí.
Sí, eso sí, perfecto.
¿Puedes ver el horno, muchacho? ¿Tantito?
Vamos a ponerme la mascarilla. Ah, qué bien, perfecto. ¿Puedo enseñarlo? Sí, gracias. Wow, eso sí está bien caliente. Súper caliente. ¿Qué?
Pero ten cuidado, no se
Ok, ok, claro. Oh, aquí se ve todo lo...
Ahí está.
Bueno, para un día hoy como frío. Sí. Qué bien, gracias.
Carbón, fridge, todo.
Sí, qué bien, gracias. Gracias. All right. All right, that was really cool. That was the oven, ladies and gentlemen. So they do have a actual coal oven, which is really cool, and they were very nice. So everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. Keep being awesome, and always keep on exploring. Have a good day. Bye bye from John's of Bleecker Street.